Today we're going to be doing the same thing we did yesterday, which is A.5A. That's solving equations with multiple steps. Okay, and the essential question for today is, how do you know the next operation to apply when solving? So we did yesterday, we wrote down the steps. So what is step number 1? What do we have to do first? Distribute. So we have to distribute anything that has parentheses. Distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So we need to do distributive property first. Okay, so problem number 1. What do I need to distribute? How many things am I distributing? How many parentheses do you see? 2. That means I'm distributing 2 things. Okay? I'm distributing this -1 because that is a -1, and I am distributing the 2. Okay, so write down that's a -1, and then this one's a 2. When you distribute, you multiply. So we are going to multiply. Okay, and for those of you who can catch on quickly, when you multiply something by a negative number, the signs are going to change. Okay, los signos se van a cambiar. -1 times 4 is -4. You can multiply it in decimals, -1 times 4. And then -1 times -2, this is a -2, is what? -1 times -2 gives you a +2. The sign changes. Okay, so it's +2a. So plus 2a. 2 times 8. What is 2 times 8? 16, and it has an a, so it's 16a. And what's 2 times 5? +10. Okay, so that got rid of the parentheses. What's step number 2? Move the variables, right? So we're going to separate the variables and the constants. Okay, separate the variables and the constants. That means I want the variables on one side, los variables en un lado, and the constants on another side. And I don't care which way you move them, okay? So which one do you want to move first? The -4? So this is a constant. That means you want the constants on the right side. And if you're saying that we want the constants on the right side, then I want the variables on the left side. Okay? And when you move them, you have to change the sign. Vamos a cambiar los signos. So this becomes a -16. So it's going to be 2a minus 16a. Okay, this one changes to a minus. Equals. This one stays here, so that's 10. And this is going to move over and change the sign. So what does this become? What does the -4 become? A +4, plus 4. You change the sign. Okay? What is step number 3? Combine like terms. Okay, so when we separated the variables and the constants, now I have the variables on one side I can combine, and I have the constants on the other side that I can combine. What's 10 plus 4? 14. And what's 2 minus 16? You can use decimals, 2 minus 16. It's a negative 14. Okay? And it has a variable, so it's negative 14a. And what is the last step? We're going to divide. So we're going to solve. And that's usually by dividing or multiplying. So right here, my a is connected with that negative 14. So to get rid of it, you have to divide by negative 14 on both sides. Okay? So it cancels. A equals, divide these two in decimals, and that will give you the answer. So what's 14 divided by negative 14? No. 14 divided by negative 14 is a negative 1. So my answer is negative 1. Okay, negative 1, negativo 1. All right, let's do number 2 a little bit faster. Step number 1, distribute. So we're going to multiply these two, and we're going to multiply these two. What's 7 times 1? 7. What's 7 times 2x? Positive 14x. Okay? What's negative 7 times 3? You guys have decimals. You can use it. Negative 7 times 3. Negative 21. What's negative 7 times a negative 1? Negative 7 times negative 1. The sign changes. It's a positive 7. So plus 7. Don't forget the x. Okay, step 2. Separate the variables and the constants. So I'm going to move this 7x to the left side. So I want my x's on the left side. And I'm going to move this 7 to the right side. And I want the constants on the right side. So then I end up with 14x. This changes, becomes a minus 7x. And then this one stays the same, negative 21. And this one changes to a minus 7. Combine like terms. What's 14 minus 7? 7. 7x equals. What's negative 21 minus 7? Negative 21 minus 7. Negative 28. And then the last step, solve. So we're going to divide both sides by 7 to get rid of the 7 that's in front of the x. X equals, divide these two, and that gives you the answer. Divide. What do you get? What's negative 28 divided by 7? Negative 4. Okay, problem number 3. I'm going to distribute the negative 1 here and here, not the 5t. And I'm going to distribute this negative 2 here and here. That means if I'm not distributing, this just comes down. Esto se baja. Okay, so 5t goes in the front. Then you distribute. Negative 1 times t is negative 1t. Negative 1 times negative 18 is a positive 18. Equals. The 6 comes down. Then you distribute. Negative 2 times t is negative 2t. Negative 2 times 15 is negative 30. Separate the variables and the constants. I want the variables on the left. Why? Because I already have 2 of them here. So let's move this one over there and make it a positive. I have 2 constants on the right side, so let's move the 18 over here and make it a minus. Okay, change the signs. So bring these 2 down. I have 5t minus 1t, and then I brought this one over, so it's a plus 2t equals. Bring this one down, 6. Bring this one down, minus 30. Bring this one over, it's a minus 18. You can put this in decimals all together, the left side and the right side. So my left side, I have 5 minus 1 plus 2. Enter. So 6t on the left side. Oops. 6t equals. Put this whole thing in decimals. 6 minus 30 minus 18. 6 minus 30 minus 18 is a negative 42. And the last step is divide. So I'm going to divide this by 6, divide this by 6, and that will give you the answer. So you're going to divide it, and you're going to write down the answer. I'm not giving it to you. Okay, and the last one. We're going to do the last one in decimals. So I'm going to type this in decimals. Y equals negative 2 parentheses 4x minus 3. Hold on, because it's writing it ugly. 4x minus 3, close parentheses. And this side also in decimals, y equals negative 8 parentheses x minus 3, close parentheses, minus 18. So let's type it in here. Y equals, y equals. Y equals negative 2 parentheses 4x minus 3, close parentheses. Everybody's typing it in their calculator. Y equals the right side. Negative 8 parentheses x minus 3, close parentheses, minus 18. And I'm going to make this bigger. Okay, so if I zoom out, where do they cross? Where's my other line, right? Where's my other line? If I click on my first line, there it is. If I click on my second line, there it is. What do you notice about my first line, red, and my second line, blue? They're on top of each other. That means it's the same line. Okay, if I zoom in, same thing. Red and blue are the same line. Okay? So how many solutions do they have? That's called, when you have the same line, it's called infinite solutions. You have infinite solutions. One line on top of the other line. Okay, they share the same points, so they touch everywhere. They're intersecting everywhere. We're going to do the assignment that's in Schoology. At the very bottom, it's called A.5A, Solving Multi-Step Equations. It's there, and I'm going to put it in the calendar just in case you forget so that you can do